All right, ladies and gents, we should be up and running. It is early morning, talking day baseball for the 19th of August. Bellman is here. He is just off camera today. Why don't you say hello to the people?
Hello, people. Yes, I am here. We got two smaller slates today. The bigger one is actually during the day, but that's only 6 games. Yeah, quite a few good spots. Excited to break it down with you.
Yeah, guys, it is the 19th, and tomorrow I will be texting our web manager to increase the price of the NFL football package. So full season up for sale right now. Just go on over to the website and check it out. You can just go to sign up here, and it is only $99 for the entire season. I don't think we've gotten our weather information yet, but I haven't heard anything that there's going to be anything super pressing. So we should probably be fine as far as pitching goes, it looks like.
Yeah, I think we should be fine. Although when I say, I also haven't heard anything. Well, there's nothing I could have heard. So I'm with you. But kind of always give weather the benefit of the doubt. Like most of the time it's good, right? So we'll kind of just assume it's good.
Yeah, you can't trust DraftKings all the way through and through, but usually if it's going to be bad, you do see raindrops up here. So as far
I don't know. The weather's been pretty good around here. I'm sure it's been fine around you, which is a good sign that, there might not be a ton of rain, around the country.
Nice. All right. Pitching today. If I'm starting the lineup right now, I am going to go with Zach Wheeler and Chris Flexon as my two guys. Flexon is a guy I've talked about a lot on the show this year. He had a rough start against Houston, and then he hasn't been great in recent memory, but he's also gone through Toronto, the red-hot Yankees, a really good Tampa Bay team, and actually come out of there pretty well unscathed. So he had a rough start against them. Other than that, he's been pretty good this year. He's 6,600 against Texas.
Yeah, he makes sense. He just doesn't strike guys out for me, and that's a recipe for disaster. I haven't been on him all year. I doubt I'm on him today. I get it, though. I mean, he's really cheap against Texas. I'm sure he gets a lot of love. For me, I like Wheeler a lot. I like McClanahan a lot, and I like Luis Garcia. Kind of getting him at a discount. He's been good. He has really good strikeout stuff. Wasn't great early last time out, but his upside in my mind is just real at this price point. So I think if I were making one lineup now, it'd be Wheeler, Garcia, but I also like McClanahan quite a bit.
Yeah, and as we break down offenses, you can get a better idea of how you're able to spend up. I'm sure, I guess, in a perfect world, would you have Wheeler and McClanahan if, money wasn't an issue?
I think so, but I like Garcia a lot, too. So I think I'll go with Garcia. That's why I said Garcia Wheeler, because Garcia and McClanahan are really close to me, and one's $1,500 cheaper. And yeah, I was looking at Bumgarner also.
Yeah, he's been really good this month. I mean, looking like the old school Madison Bumgarner, kind of the same thing with him. He doesn't strike a lot of guys out, but he's pitching well.
While some people don't care or maybe look to avoid using pitchers from the same game, I love it. I really go after it. I just personally really like the ideas of pitchers playing off each other. Last night, I actually ended up making 4 lineups, and I hardly ever do this, but 2 of my lineups had Ohtani and Skubal, and 2 of my lineups had Peralta and Flaherty, because I just like the idea of going to pitchers in the same game.
Yeah, weird night for Freddie. I hope he's okay. Yeah. It seemed early. The announcers thought maybe he was tipping his pitches because St. Louis was all over him. Yeah, every time he threw something off speed, they were on it like stains on a mattress. And then he left with injury after batting. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So as far as offense goes on this slate, what do you think? I'm kind of assuming Tampa gets a lot of love against Lopez.
Yeah, I would assume so. They've been so good also, right?
Yeah, they got a lot of good names on there. So if Tampa, once ownership projections come out, if they're super, super chalky, I can assume that's probably not one that you're going to love then.
No, I mean, the other thing about Lopez is he can get hit, but he's not as far as Baltimore pitchers go, he's one of their better ones. I know he got lit up last time out. He's obviously not a good pitcher, but he can have good starts.
Just put it this way, guys, and I'm with you on that one all the way around. Yes, he got blown up last time, but just is his last 10 starts, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of those 10 starts, he's given up 2 runs or less. So, yes, he's not great, and his ERA and WHIP for the year are atrocious, making it look like he has no business starting games. He was also god-awful to start the year. The first 3-4 starts, I think, went terribly, and he gets the occasional blow-up start in there. But he has to go up against the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Tampa Bay all the time. So he's not good, but he's not as bad as people think.
No, he's definitely not. The only other thing I'll say, though, which makes Tampa more in play, is Baltimore has the worst bullpen. Yeah, it's so bad. Like, the guys coming in are worse than Lopez, and Tampa is good. Like, their lineup's lethal. They're hot right now. So I understand why they're getting love. If ownership weren't a thing, I think that they're probably the best offense on the slate. But ownership is a thing, and I'm not just trying to pick the best offense on the slate. I'm trying to beat a field of people to win tournaments.
Amen. Next game up, we got the Angels taking on the Detroit Tigers. So I would love to pick on Matt Manning today, but I spent a while looking down at this Angels team. It is so difficult to get excited about them. Outside of Ohtani, who is every inch of awesome that you could possibly imagine, there isn't anybody else on that roster I really want to play.
I have no arguments with you.
Walsh.
I'll say this, though. They are definitely on my good side. 2 nights ago, I used them, and they were really good for me. Adele hit a 9th inning grand slam. Walsh was good. I could definitely see using them here if the ownership calls for it. Like, I don't think I want to lock them in if they're going to be chalky, but if they're under owned, I'll go to these ugly names. I'm with you. They're ugly, and you're not going to feel great about it, but also they're cheap. Allows you to spend up on 2 good pitchers.
This is true. They're just, they don't do much to get you excited. What about Detroit against Quintana?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Quintana kind of, I don't know. He's been okay out of the bullpen, but like that's in very limited work. I never get excited about Detroit. I hardly ever use them. Man, it does feel like today's the day Miguel Cabrera hits his 500th, though, if he's in the lineup. This is such a good spot for him to do it.
I think he has good numbers off of Quintana, too. I mean, obviously, this stuff could have all come from decades ago. Good. Yeah. 15 46 with 7 extra base hits.
Like, yeah, this came when Miguel Cabrera was better, but Quintana used to be much better. And also, Quintana wasn't even around when Miguel Cabrera was, like, really good.
No, these at-bats all took place in the late 80s when Miguel Cabrera was only 17 seasons in. I know, I'm with you on that one. That's a good call at first base. Very cheap.
Yeah, I could definitely see using some Detroit bats. Like, if Tampa and the Angels are getting a ton of love and Detroit's getting no love, yeah, I could see it for sure.
Well, this whole game might get overlooked because of the names as people try to fill up on Tampa, but you'll check back on ownership percentages and we'll make that move later.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle against Texas. Obviously, I'm not really trying to personally use a lot of Texas bats. I could be enticed by Seattle. They're another team. Like they're, outside of like the Mitch Hanigers of the world, it's hard to get excited about them, but they find ways to get involved, whether that's, Crawford at shortstop or anything like that. So I look at them a lot like I look kind of like the Angels.
Yeah, that's fair. I like the Angels slightly more. I bet Seattle gets love here. They were pretty popular last night. They're cheap as hell. Howard sucks. Their bullpen sucks. I have a feeling Seattle is popular, but they are in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, if they're popular, I got no issues fading in tournaments. None.
Yeah, same. And for me, like I'm definitely looking at a couple Texas bats, namely my boy Yanni Hernandez leading off 2,300. Like I mentioned, Flexon doesn't strike guys out, so this is actually, I think, a good spot for Texas potentially. They are rarely good, but I could see them being decent today.
All right, next up, Oakland against Chicago. We got Cole Ervin taking on Dylan Cease. So this isn't a game where I'm trying to stack anybody, but I certainly don't mind a one-off or two out of this one, specifically like a Luis Robert, who's dirt cheap, or Seth Brown that you mentioned the other day, who has been, he quietly has 16 home runs, went deep last night. Cheap outfielders who can actually hit home runs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I guess my question for this game is like, and I keep going back to it, in my mind, Cease and the Oakland offense, I think, is one of these spots where they both have upside.
Absolutely. I won't use Dylan Cease today because I prefer several other pitchers, price per dollar. But I certainly think he's got every possibility to give you 25 plus because he's done it a number of times.
Same.
You've mentioned it. Cease has also been blown up consistently this year. Well, consistently is a strong word. Several times. Gives up a decent amount of power.
We see it similarly. I lean definitely towards the Cease side, but if I'm making like 150 lineups on a small slate like this, I definitely want a little Oakland because they're also just a good offense.
Right. It's one of those days like nobody's going to play Matt Olson.
Right.
And Matt Olson's one of the better hitters on the slate, right? He has 30 home runs this year. Let that sink in. That's not Ohtani numbers, but he's one of the league leaders in home runs, and he's going to get, 2% ownership today?
And weird shit happens. Like, in baseball, in all sports. And you don't play for this, but like, think about the other day. Chris Bassett gets hit with a line drive. Freddie Peralta leaves the game after the second inning. So you're not playing like, Dylan Cease is going to get hurt. But it's just the point that you made. Matt Olson is like one of the best hitters on the slate and is not going to get any love. Doesn't take like all that much for him to have a good day.
Right. I mean, Albus Andrews is 2,700. Yeah, he's not what he once was. He has double digits in 4 of his last 8 games. He's 2,700.
I like the Oakland offense a lot, and I'm always a fan when they're not getting love. I respect Cease, but they're not going to get any love, and it's like a small slate. So that does pique my interest a little bit. Like, they're going to be unowned, in my opinion.
Unowned. Completely unowned. And then also, the flip side of it, having a nice season is Cole Ervin. So I'm not really necessarily trying to pick on him, but I certainly can get on board with, like I said, Luis Robert. The problem with like Eloy Jimenez, Tim Anderson, and Jose Abreu is they're super expensive, and I don't like them enough to make them that my priority. But it's certainly a powerful stack of players that's going to go way under owned today.
Yeah, it's similar to Oakland for me, and just that like they're good and they're not going to get much love. That said, I think they're much more popular than Oakland.
Those 3?
Yeah, like I think that Chicago, I think both are like low owned, but if the A's are 3%, the White Sox are 9-10%.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess for me then, like, they're all low enough owned that if you like them, do your thing.
Sure.
And I like those White Sox guys. I just can't find my way to prioritize those big salaries. I mean, Abreu's 5,500. Anderson is 5,600. And then you have Eloy, who's 5K. Like, that's just, it's a really difficult build to use all 3 of them.
Definitely. I have no arguments there. It's hard to get there.
How much love do you think Houston gets today against Mike Minor?
I don't know, but this is definitely one where if they're not getting love, I like them a lot. They looked very close yesterday. And on the flip side, if they're getting a lot of love, I'll fade. What were you going to say? Like, what was your intention?
I was curious. I have no idea. That's one that I think to me that was the big wild card on the slate because I have no interest in the offense in the next game. I really was curious how popular Houston was going to be. If they're very, very chalky, I'm fine not playing them in tournaments. Load up on them in cash games if you want to. If they're not getting any love, though, well, this would probably be the stack that I would use. You know, we bring it up all the time. They're actually good.
Yeah.
There are other teams that'll be popular, you know, and Tampa Bay is good too.
Sure.
But if they go like unowned, you know, Mike Minor, I think 3 straight games with multiple home runs allowed.
It's like the second game is like the Angels in Detroit. Like, I like the spot for the Angels a lot. Manning is much worse than Mike Minor. But if you're telling me like the Angels are chalky against Matt Manning and Houston's like under-owned, I love Houston then.
Right, because Houston, again, they're actually good. And Mike Minor, let's face it, he's not having a great year. He's given up a ton of home runs recently. Houston is clearly better than he is. So
I've been watching them. I feel like they're about to bust out. It might not be today, but, you know, there's just a gut feel, but I feel it.
Yeah, Altuve's got big-time career numbers off Minor. Correa's good against lefties, very affordable. Alvarez is, you know, we'd rather have him against a righty, but he's just fine against lefties. Brantley, cog in the machine. Elemis Diaz, very affordable.
Yeah, I like him. We'll have to wait and see on ownership, but they look like they're in a decently, hopefully under-owned spot because Mike Minor has name recognition.
Agreed. Okay, and then the last game we got Wheeler against Bumgarner. Look, could there be guys that succeed in this game? Of course, but this is pitching for me and nothing else.
Yeah, I couldn't even make a case for Arizona here. Philly, I could see using like a one-off or 2. Andrew McCutchen, you know, he's got power against lefties, but doubt I get there.
Yeah, agreed. So I think we agree overall our top pitcher of the day is going to be Zach Wheeler. He's one of the better pitchers in baseball this season. Now, he's not been perfect lately, so very much like Tyler Mahle yesterday, he's going to be real popular. But I could understand, like, if you really like, let's say, McClanahan, Garcia, you know, Bumgarner, and you just think he has one of his less than stellar starts. Like, we've seen 3 starts from him recently where he's been under 20 points. He's human. We know the Diamondbacks are no good, but on any given day, he could just be blah. And if you just think the other pitchers are better and maybe he gets hit a little bit, I could understand why, because he's going to be real popular today.
I could definitely understand it also, but, like, I did not like Mahle in that day slate yesterday. He's not good at home. He was going to be, like, 90% owned. Wheeler will be popular here, but I don't think as popular as Mahle was. And he's just better than Mahle in my mind. Like, not even close. So I get it. Like, the point is that they're both going to be really popular. Wheeler hasn't been great recently. So if anyone like Garcia and McClanahan or like Flexon and McClanahan, which saves you a lot of money, do your thing. I just don't feel that way.
No, I'm playing Wheeler. So again, I'm Wheeler's side right here. I don't think he's not Jacob deGrom, right, in his rare form. Like, there's definitely a lot of starts where he's very, very human. And again, like, at the end of the day, if Dylan Cease has 28 points and Wheeler has 14, you get a big bump right there, not to mention an extra $1,000. Like, there's nothing flabbergasting about that. It's just not the play that I'm making.
No, I mean, it's like the other night. I like Sandy Alcantara a lot. I was kind of scared off by his price tag, but he actually outscored Burns, which you don't predict, but that happens.
Definitely. Okay. So gun to head, I think when it comes to what I would like to do today, once we get a better idea about where the field is going, it'll be easier to answer this question. But if the field is not Houston heavy, like if it's overwhelming Tampa Bay, for example, then I'll be stacking the Astros. And this is one where I'll play Wheeler, and then I'll probably have to use Flexon because I'll have to get the money or need the money to get Altuve, Gurriel, and everybody like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to play Flexon, but I also, if I have to, there aren't many viable cheap options. So the only thing I will say about Houston, though, they're going to probably have some cheap pieces in their lineup because like Chaz McCormick was 2,300. Their catcher's cheap, so it'll probably be able to make it work. I like Garcia and Wheeler, but quite a few pitchers that I think are worth a look.
Now, if Houston's real popular, which I don't think we anticipate that, but they're, if they're getting more love than we would expect, I do think, as we kind of mentioned, like the Angels Detroit could be kind of the wild card game. Like if both sides of that game are getting ignored, that's like an interesting game to be 11-8.
Okay, so I think the predictableness of this slate is that Baltimore will be chalky.
Tampa, right?
Yeah, Tampa will be Tampa will be chalky. The Mariners will be popular, not quite as popular as Tampa, but they'll get love. They're in a good spot and they're affordable. Oakland and the White Sox will both not get any love. Kansas City won't get any love. The hitters in Philly, Arizona won't get any love. So that really leaves the Astros, the Angels, and the Tigers, and the Mariners a little bit. Like, how much love will the Mariners get as the wild cards in my mind? Like, Houston is the best offense there, but they're also a little bit banged up, and they're facing the most name-recognizable pitcher. I've seen every slate Matt Manning's on. The offense going against him is really popular. So that's why I'm kind of thinking Houston is a little less popular than we might think. And I could be off there, but that's just how I break it down in my own head.
I agree with everything you said. So I'm with you 100% on that one. And we will wait on the ownership percentages. That'll be included in today's write-up when Matt busts that out. And what you just said makes complete and utter sense to me. So I'm on board. I'm hoping the Astros, even if it's just like, if they're only getting like projected for maybe like 10% as a stack, that's probably just where I would go then.
Yeah, same. And then the week, like, let's say that the Astros end up being popular and Tampa's getting no love, which won't happen, but I would like Tampa then.
Agreed. And you're right. It won't happen. And I agree that if that's the way it was, I would like Tampa. Lopez gets picked on every slate. Like Lopez and Manning get picked on every single slate. Yes. So why would a good Tampa Bay team not end up that way?
Yeah, I was kind of just saying it as like, how we think, but there's no way Tampa's not the chalk here. There's just no way.
Yeah. Also, first game, right? Like the lineup's out early. I'm sure Tampa's usually pretty good at releasing their lineup early. So people have time to prep and look at things like that. If all of a sudden, like you get like Margot's in the lineup today too. So like you can play him at 2,900. Maybe you get another pay down option somewhere else that's very, very affordable and they become easier to stack, like overwhelming chalk.
Kier Meyer's actually been good recently. Click on him. He's like 2,200. He's not a great hitter, but he's in the lineup basically every day, and he's been good. Like he's on a little bit of a hot streak.
So Kier Meyer is a guy that he's not a great hitter. He's a great fielder, but he's not a bad DFS guy because I know he only has 4 home runs this year, but he has a little pop in his bat and he can run a little bit, so he can do some things that are rewarded.
Exactly. He doesn't do them a lot because, like you said, he's not a great hitter, but he does have upside on, he's like not like a Michael Brantley. He's not going to get, a lot of times he will get you zeros, but he's got the 20-plus game in him for sure.
If Kier Meyer played 162 games at the end of the year, he would probably be close to a 2020 guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I think he'd end up with double-digit home runs and steals if he played consistently every single day, didn't get hurt, didn't leave games, didn't come into a loaded team where he doesn't get to play every day.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know. That's what we got, guys. Tampa Bay should be popular. Load up on them in cash games.
Thanks a lot, guys.